dogs? It's your boy Spider Pig. You already know what time it is. Another Super Saturday. Hopefully, y'all ready to watch some Dragon Ball content. Excuse me for being a little bit late. You know, I normally start at 8 or whatever time it is, wherever you are. Let me click on my video. First person to like it was me, so you know that counts. That counts to somebody somewhere. You dig? Let's see what the camera look like. Shouts out to logging into our Buy Me a Coffee. Y'all know to go view the page, become a member, you know, support these Super Saturday productions that we do over here if you want to. And, you know, I ain't gonna tell you too much about Buy Me a Coffee. Y'all know to go check it out. It's lit over there. It's got its own vibe. We'll be posting more stuff because it's been a hot second since I posted over there, it looks like. Yeah, I need to start posting back again for November, so we'll be over there doing our thing over there. Shouts out to Thanksgiving coming up. You know how we do. We're gonna be over here smoking it up, watching content, reviewing whatever we review, because that's what Spider Pig does. It does whatever it did. You dig? Anyways, let's get into the videos. Yeah, hell, I got to try to be live at 10. Morning, Sue.
Obtaining a secret formula that granted him immortality. Later, he managed to erase his name and that of his entire tribe from the Book of the Dead, making himself immortal the second time. For the third time, he ate all the peaches in the Garden of the Celestial Peaches, which granted him immortality. Then, at the banquet of the Queen Mother of the West, he drank the celestial wine, becoming immortal for the fourth time. Still drunk, Wukong ate the pills of longevity, gaining immortality for the fifth time. The Monkey King was then placed in Ozzy's furnace to be burned alive, but instead, he burned away his mortality, thus becoming immortal for the sixth time. Finally, Wukong found some ginseng fruits and ate them all, obtaining immortality for the seventh time.
Guys, in today's video, we're going to talk about Goku and Vegeta's new enemies. Yes, new Majin Boos are going to appear, and one person in particular is manipulating everyone. I'm going to show you everything here. But before we start, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Have you done that yet? So let's get started. Guys, with the arrival of Dragon Ball Daima, new characters were introduced to us, and among them there is one in question that has a great air of mystery, and in this case, this character in question would be Dr. Anisu, who is Dejesu's sister, and by extension, the sister of Shin, our Supreme Lord Kaio. Her first appearance was in the first episode, where she already showed herself to be a manipulator by insinuating that Goku and his friends could end up invading the Makai world, and how they had been able to face and defeat Majin Buu himself, who was incredibly powerful by the standards of the beings of the Makai world. So it was obvious that King Goma would be somewhat afraid of Goku and his friends, and that was exactly what Dr. Anisu wanted, and she easily achieved it. After her quick introduction, she ended up leaving the place, leaving King Goma alone and thoughtful. In a short time, he remembered Dr. Anisu's words, and with that came the idea of using the Dragon Balls from planet Earth, and with them he would wish that Goku and his friends would become younger, which would make them weaker. Dejesu, who was with his king, ended up wondering if that would be a good idea, but quickly the two ended up getting a fright when Dr. Anisu appeared between them, confirming that the idea of turning Goku and his friends into children was a good idea. Just from those brief moments in which she appeared, we can see that she is a dangerous woman. Could she be dangerous because of her powers? Maybe, after all, we have no information about her abilities up until this point, but we can be absolutely sure that she is a dangerous person because of her ability to manipulate weaker beings. And this is clear when she easily manipulated King Goma and his brother Degesu. Now, an interesting piece of information that we discovered at the end of the first episode is that Dr. Anisu ended up leaving the demon world and went to one of the 12 universes. And I am almost absolutely sure that she went to the 7th universe, but you must be wondering why she would go to the 7th universe out of nowhere. Simple, my dear subscribers. I believe that she went to the 7th universe to go after the former king of the demon realm, Dabura, who ended up being defeated by Majin Buu. As we already know, Dr. Arnisu is a doctor, and that's pretty obvious, and as such, she is a researcher who must be looking to increase her power through her science, and a very good way for that to happen would be if she had her own Majin similar to Majin Buu. Maybe not as powerful as the real Majin Buu, but her creations could be at a nice level for her to possibly conquer the demon world, and perhaps reign over it in place of King Goma. And from what we've seen, King Goma and Dr. Anisu don't get along very well, and she doesn't have a loyalty to King Goma like her brother Degesu has, so she could betray him at any moment. We know that Dr. Arnisu ended up leaving the demon world at some point for a reason that we don't know for sure at the moment, but I believe that the reason she left the demon world was precisely to create new Majins. In my opinion, Dr. Arnisu went to the 7th universe to study the beings that existed in that universe where her former king of the demon realm was previously. Dr. Arnisu must have used a magic similar to what King Goma used in the first episode, and upon seeing the potential of the various beings that got in the way of Goku and his friends, the scientist ended up becoming fascinated by such beings and decided to go after these beings, or at least their DNA, for her to use in her experiments, and with that she would be able to create new, more different Majins with varied abilities and capabilities that would have the potential to become more powerful, even more so if she had obtained the DNA of a Saiyan and managed to give them the ability to become stronger the more battles they got into, just like Saiyans like Goku and Vegeta, who become more powerful as the battles they get involved in progress. These so-called Majins that Dr. Anisu may be creating have not yet appeared in the anime or even in any of the trailers, but there was a leak of the appearance of some characters, and among them was Neva, a character that has already been made official and has already appeared in the anime, and he proved to be a very important character initially, and in the future he may be even more important because of the Dragon Balls of the Demon World. Among the characters whose images were leaked were 2 Majins who possibly served Dr. Arnisu. Guys, what if in reality this scientist wants the Dragon Balls of the Demon World, and since she is weak at that moment she would not be able to get the Dragon Balls, since to do so she would have to face the Tamagami, and since she does not have enough power to do it alone, she is manipulating everything so that Goku and his friends defeat the Tamagami, and in the end she would only get the Dragon Balls of the Demon World. I believe that this is Dr. Anisu's objective, but why would she do all this? The answer is simple, my dear subscribers. She wants to create new Majins as powerful as Majin Buu, but she is not able to create such a powerful being alone, so the Dragon Balls from the Demon World would be the best option for her. With the power of Shenron Dark, the scientist would be able to create beings as powerful as Majin Buu. Now that we know that Dr. Anisu is a manipulator, we can theorize that she may have an ability or magic similar to Babidi's that allows her to control beings using the Majin mark that she can grant. We may see Vegeta again with the Majin mark on his forehead, but this time he may not be in control. After all, he is now younger, and by extension, he is also weaker, and would not be able to resist the power of the scientist's magic. We may even see other characters like Piccolo being controlled by the scientist, and even Goku could end up being controlled by her. With all this power, the woman would be able to dominate King Goma, and even Degesu, who probably would not have enough power to face so many powerful characters strengthened by the power of the Majin mark. Now we already know that this Dr. Arnisu is an extremely dangerous woman just with the information we already have, but what if she gets the power of the third demonic eye? You may be wondering what the third demonic eye would be, and so far we know that it is a type of artifact passed down by the ancient kings of the demon realm, but which ended up being lost several years ago, so much so that Dabura, who was the former king of the demon realm, did not possess this artifact, and yet he was a very powerful being compared to the members of his species. And even the new King Goma does not have as much strength as Dabura, at least not in terms of raw power, but perhaps King Goma may be more powerful when it comes to using magic. As mentioned, this demonic artifact was lost ages ago, and the kings of the demon world in the past ended up not using this artifact, and we have no information about what abilities or effects this artifact would grant to its user. But we can be sure that this artifact would make anyone more powerful when using it, so much so that King Goma would use one of his wishes to Shenron to recover that artifact. But unfortunately for him, and fortunately for the Z Warriors, Shenron only granted one wish to King Goma. But even so, I'm sure that this demonic artifact will appear at some point in the anime. Do you think this artifact was just mentioned randomly, or will it end up appearing at some point in the anime? I believe so. It will end up appearing in the anime at some point, but if it doesn't appear in Dragon Ball Daima, it will definitely appear in Dragon Ball Super. That's right, guys, maybe this demonic artifact will be used by some enemy in the future. If that really happens, it means that the third demonic eye would have the...
I just think it's funny because, now they said the first time you make a wish upon the Dragon Balls, you only get one wish, which they've already proven that back in Broly because Chile only got one wish. I could only wish Broly to be safe and take him back home. You see what I'm saying? They making that sure y'all know that now. So, shouts out to that part about it. But hell, they done said he would have got his weapon back. So that proves in the future he's gonna be back and getting them Dragon Balls to make more than one wish. And then he gonna be a problem because then he gonna get all his wishes. Like, oh yeah, this ain't my first time being here, Dragon. You cheated me last time, only gave me one wish, but I'm gonna need all of them today. You dig? All of them.
Ability to transform a weak being into someone as strong as Goku using complete Ultra Instinct and Vegeta with his Ultra Ego. But who would be this enemy who would use the power of the third demonic eye in Dragon Ball Super? Simple, it would be Dr. Arnisu herself. Yes, I believe that somehow she will come out alive from the events of Dragon Ball Daima and will hide to become stronger, and the third demonic eye would be the key to all of this. So guys, now I want to know your opinion. Is the Doctor really manipulating everyone? Did you like the look of the new Magians? I commented. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Bye.
Seriously, you can't put Spider-Man down. This version of Spider-Man in the MCU definitely knows how to take a punch. And just like any good version of Spider-Man, well, he also knows how to keep on getting back up after the punch. He's ridiculously hard to put down. But here, well, durability definitely has to go to Venom, though. No doubt about it, he's tougher out of the two. Like for starters, it's bulletproof. Like all around, just completely bulletproof. Seriously, cannot stress this enough. Dude doesn't even give two F's about bullets. On top of that, Venom's been battered away a couple hundred feet, was hit with a freaking nasty heel stomp, then launched back again another couple hundred feet. Took it all. Then he took all sorts of attacks from Carnage, too. Was thrown and hit and trashed all around by that guy.
So, you find yourself on the Unrelent Gaming channel. How fortunate for you. I, Lord Freezer, will spare your life as long as you subscribe and turn on notifications. Also, don't forget to become a member of Unrelent Gaming's Patreon for tons of exclusive content to early access media and much more. Do it now, or else.
So with the recent introduction of a brand new character having to join our heroes that goes by the name of Pansy following the events of Dragon Ball Daima Episode 4, it would only now appear as though the Supreme Kai Goku and Glorio have a new member added onto their team, as I want to welcome you all to my Dragon Ball Daima Anime Episode number 5 review, to which from the beginning, not only do our heroes continue to embark on their quest and having to reach King Goma, which I thought was a very interesting idea, especially since at first they didn't really want Pansy to be in their group to begin with, but after having to go as far as to see Pansy ask Goku about his strength, only for Goku to say, hey, I'm not from around here, I'm a Saiyan, what I found to be very interesting, and maybe some of you guys may relate to this, is the way Pansy went as far as to look at Glorio. It kind of went as far as to give me some kind of a suggestion that perhaps maybe Glorio isn't really who we think he is throughout this entire story, you know? So I'm kind of having this weird feeling that at some point he actually might play a role in either being some kind of an enemy, which I would like, or maybe something else of the sorts, because this isn't really the first time that any of the characters kind of looked at Glorio a little funny, you know? But it's also kind of interesting to see how Pansy's conversation with the Supreme Kai kind of went into a different direction to suggest that Goma is the second in command within the Demon Realm, which almost kind of suggests that Degasu is the #1 shot caller down there, which is a little weird, but in a way it also does make sense since by proxy, of course, Shin is related to Degasu. But I've said this ever since the first episode of Dragon Ball Daima that I don't believe that Goma is going to be like the main villain of this entire thing, or at least not that we think of, because something goes as far as to kind of tell me that Glorio is definitely in on something. But even then, as our heroes are continuing to embark on their journey and having to come across massive skeletons that were shown on the ground, beautiful scenery all around, they finally reach an interesting person's castle by the name of Caden, and Caden's castle actually ends up turning out to be a bit more interesting than how I thought, even though thus far for Dragon Ball Daima, ever since episode 3-ish, all we've seen was them having to kind of have like this Star Wars-like story to where they appear to all be going from one location to another, from one town to another, which I don't really have a problem with, but if anything else, just like OG Dragon Ball, I think that this castle was a very interesting location to see everything play out the way it did, because not only do we see an interesting interaction in having to see Goku having to speak with Caden, but at the same time, I also find it to be very, very intriguing how Dende seems to be held by Goma, but at the same time, on top of this, they kind of seem to be trying to sing him lullabies and put him to sleep because, of course, Dende is a baby, so they're going to be keeping him around for all intents and purposes, maybe for the usage of the Dragon Balls, of course, since they want to make new Dragon Balls. But I found it also to be very interesting how they finally brought up the Namekian Dragon Balls, because a lot of people have been talking about that ever since episode 1, so hopefully enough we get to see more or less of that be utilized as the series continues. However, we only come to find out that as our heroes had gotten to Caden's castle, it turns out that Pansy is actually a princess, right? So it's kind of like a Super Mario thing in a way, because she seems to be the princess of this entire place, which was why the guards had let her in, which is a little interesting on top of the fact because you don't really get that kind of an idea from a person like this upon meeting her, but she seems to be well equipped and suited for combat, so of course it does make sense at that point. But even then, when going into the castle, we get to see how everyone is operating in their own little way. All of the minions and soldiers are training outside, just like kind of like Spartans, you know? And then eventually, as soon as they end up going inside, little Pansy wants for everyone to go and speak with her dad. She wants to see her dad, and her dad is like this fat king, you know, like a typical fat king who's arrogant. He's very kind of, I guess you could say, wary on guests, especially after having to see Glorio, Shin, and Goku. But it was only just as the king had sat down by mentioning, who are those that you bring to me that so-called had defeated Majin Buu, or at least are strong enough to defeat Buu? Pansy tries to point out that indeed it was the Supreme Kai and Goku, and in actuality, I mean, I can understand why they would mention the Supreme Kai, right? Because he was in on it, but we all know that it was Goku and company, and Vegeta, which he should have been in this episode, I think, only because it would have served a great comedic purpose. Because you can only imagine if Goku had volunteered to be like, yeah, it was me, only for Vegeta to go, okay, no, it wasn't just you, it was me too, you know? So I think that that was kind of like a little missed opportunity by not having Vegeta around, only because thus far it seems as though Goku is being known by Glorio, and of course by this individualistic king that seems to be serving this one little location within this particular town, as being the one that is strong enough to defeat Buu, or at least has the power to do so. I'm really hoping that at some point we get to see Gohan and Vegeta and Piccolo in this, because, I mean, not for nothing so far with everyone having to walk and sleep and just kind of go from town to town, not for nothing it's been a little bit of a boring adventure, even though it does take up a lot after OG Dragon Ball, which is completely fine. But it was only towards the latter half of the episode where we get to see some action, only because the king really didn't believe that these two little so-called brats were strong enough to even contend against Buu. But even then, by the end, as soon as the king had went as far as to kind of suggest this, Goku went as far as to have a rebuttal by saying, well, you do understand that I'm an adult that was shrunk, right? And so it was only just upon with them having to mention how Goku's trying to go as far as to get the Dragon Balls, or to use the Dragon Balls to have everyone be restored back to their normal adult bodies, Pansy and her father completely had lost their mind. But even then, this little minor king was very wary of Goku having to battle these Tamagamis, which are protectors of the Demon Realm's Dragon Balls. So they really kept trying to mention how these Tamagamis were supposed to be really, really strong individuals. And honestly, everyone in the Demon Realm so far, to me at least, had been complete fodder, because inevitably enough, Goku's not even trying against anyone. We briefly see Goku go Super Saiyan in this episode towards the end, but even then, I really don't think that Goku needed to do that, so that only goes as far as to tell me that everybody in this realm, or at least so far that we've seen, is basically weak by comparison to Goku, assumingly Vegeta, Gohan, of course, Piccolo and company. So really, at the end of it, as soon as this king had Goku pretty much go up against all of his minions, Goku had only proven for my statement to be correct because only in base form does he go about by fighting at least 20 other individuals. And I mean, of course, with Goku being Goku, he understands that he really doesn't have to go all out during this, and he doesn't. So he more or less considers this training. He goes about by pretty much whooping everyone's butt, and even then towards the end, it kind of sucked not seeing Super Saiyan Goku in his entirety as a kid, but of course we are going to be getting that relatively soon. But either way, even then, it just kind of sucked seeing how the fights were really rushed. Even though he does consider this to be training, he only goes Super Saiyan for a split second just to blow everybody away as they're trying to use their spears, as they're using weapons. As I will say though, the fight choreography was amazing, so that's definitely something that wasn't a takeaway for this episode. But it's like at this point, even with Goku handing Shin on over his power pole, he was whooping everybody without even trying. So that should go as far as to tell you a lot about Goku's strength. If Gohan was there, if Piccolo was there, if Gotenks was there, if Vegeta, they would have done the same thing, I think. And so hopefully enough we get to see an escalation in terms of power by seeing more individuals kind of maybe outside of the Tamagamis pose more of a threat to Goku and company. And I kind of have this feeling that Glorio, like I mentioned before, might be that guy, because you can even go as far as to see it within the episode. At the moment Goku went Super Saiyan, Glorio kind of looked at him like, okay, I really gotta keep my eye out for this guy, even though Goku essentially went as far as to take down like literally everybody that was there that opposed them. And what's even worse was that he did it with a smile. So of course Glorio is observing all of this, and again, I think that there's something very fishy with him, and that's because you can simply see it on his face, you can see it upon his reactions. Maybe I'm looking a little bit too far into it, but I really don't think that I am. But what's funny about this, it was only a little after Goku had went as far as to foderize everybody, where the king had went as far as to give them a ship, he gave them resources and food, and I guess it's all for the sole purpose of trying to stop Goma and company, which was something that he didn't really believe that Goku had the power to do until having to whoop all of his men. But the king did go as far as to fetch one of his other minions that goes by the name of Hybis, and he told him to go and fetch Goku's friends to bring them out from the outer world here. So that only goes as far as to tell me that they're finally going to go as far as to bring our other characters in this demon realm, because I think they're desperately needed. So of course I think that with the inclusion of Piccolo and Vegeta coming to the demon realm, do I only think it's going to be very interesting. And even the fact that this little Hybis minion character had like this radar that was able to spot the lookout in a really cool way, because with the way he was able to see everything, with the way he was able to navigate through it, it looks really good. But again, I really do hope that the overall pacing begins to pick up, because I understand that they're trying to build upon the world and even build upon the lore. So of course next week we are going to see a brief contest involving Glorio and Goku, which I think by the end of it might be a very interesting confrontation. So the episode itself I think was good. Again, the pacing is a little problematic only because I think that it's a little too slow, but I can understand to an extent as to what they're trying to do. Again, I think not the best episode per se, but the episode itself did go as far as to give us at least some information as to what is to be expected moving forward, so I think inevitably that is a good thing. But even now, by the end of all of this, I want to go on ahead and get your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below about how you guys felt about Dragon Ball Daima episode 5, because not for nothing, thus far a little bit of a slow start from the beginning of Dragon Ball Daima all the way up until now. But again, the visuals, the sound design, everything about Daima visually looks great. Sound wise, it sounds great, but the overall narrative is dragging along, and I can see as to why.
So overall, on Demon, they done just built up the whole Demon universe. The first 5 episodes. Shout out to the reviews, because you see, we ain't actually got the content on here. We got full reviews. You see what I'm saying? So hey, he's over here laying down the story, and I'm just giving my little opinions about it. That's what review channels do. We ain't even got to use their content. We can just sit here and talk about it like we supposed to, right? Right. Shouts out to actually doing reviews and sometimes using videos that other people make. But you know how we do. The Spider Pig Super Saturdays.
A lot of people do have mixed opinions about Daima, because although we are waiting to see the Tamagami be involved, although we are waiting to see if Degusu is going to be more or less involved by having to fight against our heroes, and hell, even to go as far as to see Gohan be shown, because we haven't seen what he's been up to this entire time, on top of the fact of having the others join the fray. So I can understand a lot of frustrations behind why people don't like this, but at the same time, many other people do seem to enjoy this, because it does remind them of OG Dragon Ball, all, and even to an extent, including myself, this goes as far as to remind a lot of people of like the very beginnings of what Dragon Ball GT was like. But even now, by the end of all of this, I want to go on ahead and get your thoughts and opinions, and not only just about Dragon Ball Daima Episode 5, but mainly about Daima as a whole now, since it has been 5 weeks after Dragon Ball Daima was essentially having to be introduced with its debut episode. So since then, have you guys been enjoying the story? Have you guys been frowning on the story? Let me know your thoughts down below. As again, I do want to thank you all so very much for watching. Thank you all so much for your time, to which once more, if you also just so happen to be new to this channel, then I do encourage for you all to head on over and smash that subscribe button on top of giving this video a big fat thumbs up by smashing that like button down below. Tune back in for more. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to enable all notifications. That way you guys can never miss a single video that's posted onto the channel. And with all that being said, I want to thank you all so much for tuning in, and I'll be seeing each and every single one of you down in the comment section below as we tend to debate, and in the next video. Take it easy, guys, and have a great day. Peace.
Hello. Did you know that you can stay up to date with the latest Dragon Ball content by simply subscribing to Unrelent Gaming? Also, don't forget to follow on these social media platforms.
Shout out to Homeboy Creative.
Roshi, Silent Cell, me and the fans are having a moment. That's right. I know what you want. Extra long, thick Dragon Ball content. Quality reviews with flawless editing. Yeah, you like that, wouldn't you? You dirty bitch. Roshi, the fuck?
God damn it, I need them to subscribe, Cell.
And we're demonetized.
Yeah, screw it. Let's cut to the video.
True? Didn't we just see each other not too long ago? 5 years, Goku. Every time we get together with everyone, you say you have to train. Well, it's true. What? Say it. Well, it's just that you look middle-aged. Shut your rude mouth! I'll have you know that most people think I look good for my age. Excuse me for not being an alien monster that never changes.
We say it's evolved as a warrior race. We retain our youthfulness so we can fight longer.
I guess your race didn't evolve with enough brains to have good manners.
Tell me you're rolling. Rotate! Rotate! Well, how about this? A goddamn Martian.
Or else, will aggressively scream and maintain for several hours
Now, while I imagine that these strange occurrences are more than likely happening not just within Universe 7, but in various other universes across the multiverse as well, I fear that with the growing tension that I sense coming from within our own universe, could it only result in the overall situation going from bad to much, much worse if something isn't done in order for us to get down to the bottom of whatever may be taking place within the shadows that we cannot yet see.
As our story now continues inside of the hyperbolic time chamber, with all four Dark Masters seemingly now gathering together and finally having to use the Super Dragon Balls to make their wish, with their giant Leviathan standing behind the time chamber as Toro positions himself to get ready to use the Dragon Balls, who's been told and went on to respond, "Gather together, Dark Lords, for the time of great change is finally upon us, as from here on, we will go and use the Super Dragon Balls during each rotation that we get, and ensure that they remain intact before they are able to scatter away, so that way we can use the time chamber's recharge time to go and use them again. So we will go and hold them together for as long as we can, so that way we can get as much out of these Super Dragon Balls that we possibly can, as I will need you all to pay very close attention and not lose your focus during each of our wishes, understood? For there are several things that must be carried out before we are able to set Master Raijin free from his prison. With Dark Master Bakaro responding, then we will make the most of this extremely rich opportunity to ensure that we get the most out of this moment, Lord Toro. Indeed, for they wait for us, Dark Lord. So in the meantime, do not forget about the plan, nor waver in case something goes wrong. For we must ensure that everything goes according to our plan, especially with our first wish. Understood? For we will start with the biggest thorns at our side and work our way down until we are able to set Lord Raijin free. Got it? Because as long as we remain hidden and away from their watchful eye is where we will hold the upper hand, Toro continues. And while we do, the entire multiverse will soon be within our reach, for our expansion draws near, Toro went on to then add. And with one of the many Leviathans here to ensure us that the Super Dragon Balls will remain under our control, then let us begin the summoning process and start using them now. With Dark Master Jogo having to chime in, yes, for let us proceed and change the landscape of the entire multiverse once and for all. With Toro having to then shout, then let us move, for our time has finally arrived. And now, Almighty Eternal Dragon, your presence is required. Now come forth, Almighty Dragon God, and grant us our wish. Pretty peas. In which within that very moment, as the Super Dragon was now beginning to form and having to exit from the Dragon Balls, was when the Dark Master Gear went on to chime in. Amazing. Just look at the size of this creature simply by emerging from those condensed yet still massive Super Dragon Balls. Well, either way, let us hope that all goes according to our will once we are able to make our wish. With Dark Master Jogo responding, then let us be patient and see how this will go, Lord Gira. For the last thing that this dragon will want is to have us turn against it. In which moments later, with the Super Dragon now having to oversee both the Dark Masters and the Leviathan standing in the time chamber, was when the Super Dragon went on to then respond, "You who have gathered all 7 of the Super Dragon Balls, what is your wish? Speak now, for I will grant them." So this is the almighty and all-powerful Supreme Dragon, Dark Master Bakaro went on to comment. What an incredible sight to behold, but we must not waste this small window that we have while it's here to make our move, Dark Ones. I agree, Toro responds, but first we must go about by not freeing Lord Raijin so quickly, for if his presence were to be felt by the gods, then they will surely come swooping down and try to put an end to our plans. With Gira responding, then shall we go and do something about the Grand Priest and Omni Kings first, since they would pose the biggest threat to our plans? plans, with Bakara chiming in, yes, I agree, for the lower gods are the least of our concern here, Lord Toro, with Toro responding, right, then that is what we'll go and do, and so all right now, Dragon. Now our first wish is to abolish the Omni Kings from every plane of existence and getting rid of them forever, as we wish for the total and absolute eradication of the Omni Kings at once. Pretty peas. Your wish to destroy the Omni Kings and rid them from the pages of history, the Super Dragon responds, cannot be granted, with the Dark Masters left in shock with Gira having to then ask, wait, but what? The wish cannot be granted? But why? How could that even be? With Toro putting into question, but that's impossible. Why can't our wish be granted if you are said to have the ability to grant any wish that anyone may desire? We demand answers as to why this can't be done, Dragon, so explain. Though while the Omni Kings remain omnipotent, the Super Dragon responds, they are beings who transcend the very nature of both space and time itself, without any limitation placed on them which presents them from further doing as they please. For they are not bound by the same laws and conditions that govern other beings, the dragon continues, as their very will is the law of the cosmos, and their existence is synonymous with the very existence of reality itself. The Omni Kings are not mere beings who exist within any specific realm, but they are rather the very architects of its existence, as their authority is absolute, encompassing all realms, dimensions, and entities who stand before him, including me, despite my power, the dragon continues. Simply put, the Omni Kings can destroy themselves if they so choose, and while having you wish for them to be destroyed is simply too vast and goes far beyond my ability to have this wish be granted for you, with Toro responding, oh, but how can that be? And so only an equal Omni power that is identical to theirs can do it, and so those little worms just can't be wished away. But there must be something that we can do in order to rid them of our troubles before Lord Raijin's arrival, for we must find a way to get rid of them for good, and we must do it now, with Dark Master Jogo responding, perhaps while we wait and think of another way of removing the Omni Kings from this equation, we should shift our focus onto doing something about that pesky Grand Priest and those guards who watch over the Omni Kings, with Toro responding, yes, but of course, they too pose a very big risk to our grand plan if something isn't done about them. Alright, Dragon, we wish for the imprisonment and permanent seal of both the Grand Priest and the Omni Guards right now. We demand for them to be removed and placed within the prison realm at once, with the Super Dragon responding, your wish to seal away the Grand Priest along with the two Omni Guards who watch over the Omni Kings shall be granted. As during this time when venturing on over inside of the Omni King's palace and seeing as to how the Grand Priest was playing red light, green light, 1, 2, 3 with the Omni Kings was when the Omni Kings then went on to respond, alright, we're about to start now, so you better be ready because this time we're gonna get you. So here we go, you ready? Red light, green light, 1, 2, 3. Oh, he's not moving, the Omni Kings went on to then both say. Are you sure he didn't move, the present Omni King asks, with the future Omni King responding, no, I didn't, but the Grand Priest is really good at this, so let's hurry it up and try again. Let's go, let's go! Well, I will say that I do believe that thus far the Grand Priest went on to respond that I am the one who is in the lead here, sire, so shall we go again? Okay, but this time you're going down and you know it, both of the Omni Kings respond, so get ready because we're going to totally catch you this time and you know it, so here goes. Red light, green light, 1, 2, 3. Wait, did he move? Did we get him this time or were we too late? Oh, well, let's just hurry and keep trying then. Alright, now you've done it, Grand Minister, because this time we're going to catch you for sure. So here goes nothing. Red light, green light, 1, 2, 3. Hey, he's gone, the Omni King's utter. But where did he go? With the future Omni King questioning, do you think he's hiding from us somewhere? I don't know, the present Omni King responds. He just vanished from out of nowhere, but where did he go? As within this time, with an unsuspecting Grand Priest now shown being teleported within the prison dimension, was when the Grand Priest went on to then question, what is this? Why and how was I just brought here? And this realm? Wait, I remember this place, for this is the prison dimension. But why was I brought here, and more importantly, by whom, the Grand Priest went on to question? For Something's not right, as I am not supposed to be here, and so I must hurry and return to the Omni Kings immediately. But then, it was just before the Grand Priest could even go as far as to act, where from out of nowhere, a metal straitjacket was then shown appearing onto his body as the Grand Priest went on to shout, "What? This suit? Angelic containment armor? No, I must hurry and..." But once again, before the Grand Priest couldn't act in making any sort of change was when a mask was then shown forming around his face as the Grand Priest went on to then say to himself, "I can't move my body, but how could this be? For there is no mortal god or angel who could have done this unless..." But of course, this must have been the result of someone using the Super Dragon Balls to do it. But who, the Grand Priest questioned, and from the looks of it, they have summoned a sealing ritual to trap me. For I must try and attempt to break free from these chains and this armor before it's too late. For I can't run the risk of leaving the Omni Kings all alone without me there to watch over them. I must still try. As the Omni Guards from out of nowhere then surprisingly enough went on to address the Grand Priest by responding, "Almighty Grand Minister, can you hear us? We are here with you, but we can't move. We are sorry, Your Majesty, but we cannot do anything to help you, for we are trapped too." "No, not you too," the Grand Priest then went on to respond. "Then what that just means that with the both of you sealed in this realm with me, the Omni Kings therefore remain alone and unattended. But worry not, fellow guards, for I will find a way to break out of these chains and set you both free so that we may return to the Omni Kings at once." But even with the two Omni Guards and the Grand Priest attempting to shake their way out of this was when Toro went on to then respond, "Tell us now then, Dragon, is it done? Were we able to do away with the Grand Priest and those Omni Guards who protect the Omni Kings? We want to know the results of our wish right now. So now tell us." With Super Shenron responding, "Your wish was successful, for the Omni Guards along with the Grand Priest have been locked away and sealed within the prison realm, where they shall remain and slumber in until the seal is undone or broken for them to be set free. For they will also remain restricted from using their powers in any way to break free unless the wish were to somehow be reversed or undone by those who wish to set them free." With Toro responding, "Excellent. And with those three locked away and out of our way, their empire will slowly start to deteriorate without them being around to do anything to stop it. Angelic prisons were always known to be inescapable, and since this is a realm that the Grand Priest had created to keep those who have been deemed as guilty locked away for all of time, then what better way to make use of that place than by locking them all away instead?" Which within that very moment, as both Omni Guards and the Grand Priest were now slowly being shown going to sleep, was when Toro then went on to continue, "And now that they are out of the way, this just leaves us now to deal with the Omni Kings, for we must figure out of a way to set them aside before we wish for Lord Raijin to return. Because either way, with them out of the way, there will be nothing and no one that will stand in our way of stopping us." With the Super Dragon responding, "And now that I have granted your wish, I hereby bid you a farewell." With Gira quickly responding, "Oh no, hurry, Dark Lords, before the Super Dragon Balls scatter away, we must go and bind them in place while we still can." Yes, and now, Leviathan, Toro went on to shout, "Grab hold of all 7 of those Super Dragon Balls by using the binding chains right now." In which, back within the hyperbolic time chamber with the giant Leviathan now shown using the binding chains and wrapping them around the Super Dragon Balls, was when Toro then went on to continue, "Do not let them escape our grasp, and so grab hold of them and remain in place until we have claimed them all again." Yes, that's right. Now with our magic, hold them all in place, Dark Lords, for it is almost done. Steady. There we go. For they are finally all stable and ready to be used once their recharge time has been completed. Wonderful. And now we wait, with Jogo responding, "But how long do we have to wait until we are able to use the Super Dragon Balls again?" With Toro responding, "Not long at all. In fact, for while they're in here, it'll only take about 3 hours per turn before we are able to reuse them again, and so goes the rest." And while we wait, Toro continues, "We must think that if the Omni Kings cannot be erased through the power of the Super Dragon Balls, then the next best option is to find a way to permanently immobilize them without engaging them. So for as long as the main gods are taken out of this equation, then our plans will go without a hitch. For there is no living creature that is without some kind of a weakness that leaves them wide so we must think of a way on how to get rid of them once the 3-hour time limit comes to an end. So let us consult. As even in the meantime, while this was shown happening, when then venturing on over throughout the multiverse and first having to visit Universe 1, was when we then began to see an example of the demons having to make their move all throughout the multiverse as Angel Owamo went on to respond, well, would you look at that? You went and set another record for yourself, Lord Iwan, for you are currently at 997,584,963 inverted push-ups, sire. And as I am starting to wonder on how many more of these you have left, and as I'm starting to now wonder on how many more of these you have left, do you not wish to go and take a water break, my lord? With God of Destruction Iwan responding, I still have plenty more of these left in the tank, Owamo, so just keep counting and don't let this distract you. I will reach 1 billion if it's the last thing that I do, unless I lose balance. And so I hope you're keeping track over there, Owamo, as unbeknownst to an unsuspecting Iwan with a hand now shown having to slowly reach on out from a portal, was where the God of Destruction Iwan continued to do his push-ups without having to realize, as Iwan went on to then continue, because I'll go and say that no other God of Destruction among the bunch will ever out-push-up me, and especially not without taking a few water breaks in between, with Iwamo having to respond, now hold on there just a minute, and just where in the world did that hand just appear from, as Iwamo went on to then respond, hey, are you counting, Owamo? You better be marking down those numbers so that way I don't lose track of what the... There we are, that's all that we need, so thank you very much, you silly little furry god, the demon went on to respond, in which upon the hand being shown plucking a small hair from Iwan's head and causing Iwan to fall on down was when Iwan then went on to shout, hey, what gives? I was just about to go and set another record, Owamo, you ruined it! So goodness, are you okay, Lord Iwan? That wasn't me who just touched you just now, for did you not happen to see on what just happened with Iwan having to question, wait, no, what do you mean? What happened? There was someone here on my planet? But how? I didn't sense any visitors come here, with Angel Owamo chiming in, well, I'm not quite sure, but if my memory serves me correct, then I think that whatever that was just now had originated from another dimension, Lord Iwan, but where? In which back on over within the demon realm, as we now get to see exactly as to why this was when Demon Sugami went on to then question, tell me, were you able to retrieve a sample from Universe 1's destroyer for me to use, Gimo? I trust that you have what I want, with Demon Gimo responding, we did, though we had to keep our distance and wait for the right time to snatch a piece of his hair. Nevertheless, we have what you've been longing for, Sugami, for we hope that this will be of great use to us in your experiments, with Demon Sugami responding, excellent work, Demon, for this will most definitely come in handy,
vertical push-ups on.
the ultimate god
You got
hybrid,
cut for some
but I
hair.
still require more samples from the other remaining gods of destruction, so in order for this to work, I would need for you to collect the last remaining samples from the gods whom you have not visited in order for my creation to be brought to life. Do this and do not fail me, Gimo, for once Lord Raijin returns, I want him to see the fruits of our efforts, so go and collect whatever you can get your hands on, whether that be hair, blood, skin, energy, or anything that you could for this to work. Now go. Understood, as we will not let any of you down, Doctor, for we know exactly as to where we will go next, with Demon Sugami having to then say to himself, good, yes, very good, as we will soon have our own personal weapon that will counter each and every single one of those gods of destruction, and especially if the Dark Masters and Lord Raijin would already have their hands full elsewhere, but in order for this to work, I will need 12 samples from each and every single one of those 12 gods of destruction for this to become a reality. And as I have no doubt that we will have everything that we will need in order to make this all work in the end, Sugami continues, and as Lord Toro had instructed for me to go out and design the ultimate counter to a god of destruction, and I will make them more than what they have asked for me to provide, and as I will create a demon destroyer who goes far beyond all 12 gods of destruction, for we will forge an unbeatable army with some demons channeling the very nature of those whom we sample it off of. Yes, and once we do, there will be no one left who will be able to stand in our way again. In which, in the meantime, when then venturing back on over to Beerus's planet and now seeing the demon Oru go after Vegeta was when Haas went on to then shout, "That's right! Now go and tear that mortal Saiyan into pieces so that way we can go and collect what we came here to collect by running through that god of destruction." But Vegeta, on the other hand, did not seem as though he was sweating Oru at all, as Demon Oru went on to then respond, "It would be wise to accept your fate rather than resist, because you won't be able to beat me, and you know it's mortal. Not a chance, Demon. You've lost your mind if you think that I'll just give in to the likes of you. So you better not disappoint me by having that low-level demon be what does you in," Vegeta Beerus went on to shout. "Now go and make him pay for his disrespectful remarks, Vegeta," as Oru then went on to respond, "The Dark Masters have entrusted us to do what we must in order to make sure that all goes according to their plan. And we will make sure to do everything within our power to make sure that we get it done, even if it means having to rip right through you in order to make it happen." In which, within the heat of battle, as Vegeta was shown having to avoid each and every single one of Oru's strikes until Oru was able to wrap his tail around Vegeta's leg and having to make him fall, was when the Demon Oru had now seized his opportunity and having to take advantage of this, as Demon Haas went on to then continue, Yes, just like that, Oru, but be careful against him, for this Saiyan was regarded as being one of the more aggressive ones of the bunch, so watch his movements. This one doesn't look so tough to me, Haas, so where is all of that power that you said this warrior would have, because I don't see it within him. You are all the same," Oru then went on to continue by smashing down on Vegeta, "and very soon, the Dark Masters will have their way with you all once they plunge your world into darkness." But then, it was only from out of nowhere now, with Vegeta shown having to transform into a Super Saiyan and knocking Oru off of his body, was when Haas then went on to respond, "Oh, damn it, I forgot that these Saiyans have the ability to transform. Oh, I should have expected as much," Oru then went on to respond, "for his power has completely changed compared to what it was before. Did you demons truly think that you'd be able to come down onto a world like this and expect for there not to be any resistance against you?" Vegeta then went on to question, "Well, you were wrong, because we aren't going to be pushed around nor threatened by the likes of you and your kind," Vegeta went on to then attack Oru. "Demon or otherwise, I am sick of having to deal with this entire situation, and therefore, I am going to go and put a stop to it myself if I need to. Now, don't let him get inside of your head, Oru. The Dark Masters made it clear on what the mission is, and so now go and take this Saiyan down now." In which, even despite with Oru attempting to reach Vegeta, with Vegeta being shown having to lean out of the way, was when Oru then went on to continue, "No, you could never face off against us demons and live to tell about it. For mark my words, you will be crushed before you ever had the chance to even try." But Vegeta, on the other hand, was not having it, because despite with Oru attempting to attack Vegeta, with Vegeta being shown slamming Oru down onto the ground, was when Vegeta then went on to respond, "Then why don't you go and do something that will put me in my place if you can, demon? Because if you're on some kind of a mission on reaching Universe 7's God of Destruction, then why are you having such a tough time in getting past me then?" Well, I could tell you as to why that is, Vegeta continues. "It's because you are all weak. You demons can't possibly expect to compete against the likes of us and think that you can win with laughable power like that, do you? For I will smash your body into pieces and send you back to your masters in a pool of your own blood, demon. Now watch as I will go and do just that." To which, as Demon Haas was then shown reaching on behind him in the portals, when Haas then went on to respond, "Oh, curse that Saiyan. He's a lot tougher than what we gave this mortal credit for, as it looks like he's going to leave me with no other choice than to have to go with Plan B that was given to me by Dr. Sugami in case things were to get a little messy here. Oh, now where is it? For if we were to gather any kind of sample from that God of Destruction, then we must hurry before they're able to do anything to stop us. Yes, there it is. So it's better to be safe than it is to be sorry," Haas went on to pull out a vial by responding. "And in the case of that Saiyan over there, well, I'm not sorry about anything. So cheers to you, Mr. Mighty Mortal of the 7th Universe. Because if you thought that we would go and make this easy on you, then you thought wrong, and so this will be the price that you will have to go and pay. And so now let's just see what Dr. Sugami had been cooking up in that laboratory down there while splicing this mortal's DNA. Which the best part about it all will be the fool won't even know what hit him. Strange. Now what is that annoying little demon up to over there, Beerus went on to question, because I can tell that without a shadow of a doubt, they're plotting something. And so now what exactly was inside of that little vial container that the ugly little one over there went and smashed onto the floor of my planet? For I know that whatever that might be can't be good, Beerus continues, and unless Vegeta decides to take his sweet time by destroying these creatures, then I'll have to step in and do it myself if necessary. As over on the other side, with Vegeta shown having to continuously smash his foot down on Oru's head, was when Vegeta then went on to continue, "You are all so pathetic that it almost feels insulting for me to waste my time on such weaklings. And because I feel as though my time is being disrespected, I am going to continue to kick your head in until your brain, assuming that you even have one, is spilled all over the ground, demon. Maybe at least then you'll be able to fully comprehend the errors of your mistakes, as you and your kind will never measure up to the might of a Saiyan, you parasites. Now crawl back into the hole that you came from." But then it was just from out of nowhere, with Olu being shown grabbing onto Vegeta's leg before Vegeta was able to make contact, was when Olu then went on to respond, "You foolish Saiyan, you clearly aren't as bright as I feared that you would be, which is ironically fortunate for us because you won't even be able to see what hits you when it does. So can you feel it, mortal?" With Haas having to laugh by responding, "Such naive simpletons these daywalkers in this universe are, for little do they know of the real dangers that they all have coming their way. And since they don't know, now we'll wait and see on how this will all turn out in a matter of a few moments." "Oh really?" Vegeta questions, "and just what in the world are you babbling about, demon? What do you mean by not be able to see it when it hits you? What are you plotting, you worm? For you better start talking right now." But then it was only just from out of nowhere, with Vegeta being shown getting kicked in the face, was when Oro then went on to quickly respond, "Oh, don't you worry, cause you're about to find out." With Haas chiming in, "You know, you really shouldn't go and express such overconfidence without first having to understand what it is that you're going up against, Saiyan, cause now you're in for it." Now maybe my eyes aren't as good as they used to be, Beerus went on to respond to Vegeta, but is that you over there that's standing on the other side, Vegeta? Because whatever that was that just hit you is now standing right over there, and it looks just like you, Saiyan. With Vegeta responding, "No, what the heck is that? No, there's no way that what I'm looking at right now is actually real, but how?" In which from out of nowhere now, standing before Vegeta, was the first time that Vegeta ever had a glimpse in having to bear witness to his own shadow demon, as Demon Oro went on to then respond, "You fight with the confidence of a man who has never considered his own downfall, but we demons have watched and learned within the shadows in identifying the weaknesses that come with such arrogance, as in the end, it will be your own strength and your own blood that will seal your fate. So now do you see?" With Demon Haas having to chime in, "And in your arrogance, you were too blind to see that we went and created a much stronger and far more superior version of you that will most definitely be far more useful in tearing right through you before reaching Lord Beerus." In which, in the meantime, when then venturing back on over inside of the hyperbolic time chamber and seeing the Super Dragon be brought out yet again, was when the Super Dragon then went on to respond, "You who have gathered all 7 of the Super Dragon Balls, what is your wish? Speak now. What will you want your wish to be for me to grant?" With Kira having to then shout, "Yes, now is the time, Dark Lords. Let us begin by bringing back the fallen angel Murno as our servants first. For this should be our second of many wishes." With Toro having to then shout, "Then it shall be, for we wish to revive the fallen angel who was destroyed that went by the name Murno. For we wish for his resurrection now immediately." With the Super Dragon then responding, "To resurrect the one who you refer to as the fallen angel Murno presents a far greater challenge than one may assume, for it is a very complex wish to grant. Whereas the complexity of your wish lies in the fundamental nature of how Murno was erased, for it was an act that had been carried out by the very forces that govern the principles of our universe," the Super Dragon continues, "as such a request was made prohibited and stands as an an irreversible request to grant. For this order of command was passed down by Zalama the Dragon God, the Grand Priest, and the Omni Kings themselves. Wait, say what? All them went on to shout, the wish can't be granted. But how could the wish be irreversible? With even Dark Master Bakara responding, but that can't be. How could the Eternal Dragon not be able to grant our wish? And to further add, the Super Dragon then continues, Myrno's erasure by the Grand Priest was an exercise of divine power that had severed the angel completely from the continuum of existence itself. For this level of eradication is so profound and complete that it nullifies any possibilities of resurrection, for Myrno's body along with his soul could never be restored into existence again, as this order is passed directly down from the great kings themselves, so therefore your request is null and void. Now what is your next wish? Interesting, so his soul along with his body could never be brought back into existence, huh? Toro questions? But there must be some kind of way to bypass this. And if Myrno can't be wished back to life, then there must be something else that can be done, for we still have a few more things to take care of before wishing for Master Raijin to be freed. If I can make a suggestion, Lord Toro, Dark Master Jogo went on to grab onto Toro by responding, for we might want to consider increasing our numbers from within our army, but not only by resurrecting the previously destroyed demons, but by enhancing our most powerful demons and having them reach new levels of power, my lord, with Toro responding, actually, come to think of it, this may in fact work. Alright then, Dragon, here is our next wish, for we wish to resurrect and strengthen our ever-growing army within the demon realm by maximizing the strength of our most powerful demons, Toro shouts. Grant us our wish and strengthen our numbers from within the demon realm at once. Pretty peas. Your wish to resurrect those who have fallen and strengthen your most powerful demons within the demon realm shall be granted. In which back on over within the demon realm, as newer and more vicious demons are now beginning to rise up from the ground, was when Toro then went on to continue. Wonderful, for everything is going exactly as we had foreseen, as with our numbers doubling and continuing to grow, one by one we will get exactly what we've been looking for, and soon, once Master Raijin is freed, is when the multiverse will come to a complete standstill, as it was only right then and there now, during that moment, where the Beyond Dragon Ball Super story of the Dark Masters, the official Myrno sequel, manga chapter number 10 special, then comes to a close. Now you can make no mistake about the fact that number one, it would only now appear as though the demon scientist Sugami is seemingly plotting behind the gods of destruction, and not only going as far as to send down multiple demons scattered all throughout the multiverse in collecting samples directly from these destroyers, but one could only go as far as to imagine as to what the Dark Masters had ordered for Sugami to create while they're away and having to use the Super Dragon Balls, on top of the overall fact of the Dark Masters being shown utilizing their first wish by locking away the Grand Priest and the Omni Guards. You can only imagine as to all of the chaos that we have brewing up, coming up in the upcoming episode, which will be made available right now on my Patreon for those of you out there that are members to see. So if you would not only want to go as far as to support the fan manga content that you see on this channel, but also gain additional content and access to my art, soundtracks, PNGs, and so much more, then I do highly encourage for you guys to become a member of my Patreon today, patreon.com/unrollmangaming, to where I will go ahead and leave that link located down in the description box below and pinned comment section below as well, because simply put, none of this would be possible without your support over on Patreon. So again, I do want to thank you all so much for that, to which as always, I do want to thank you all so much for watching, and thank you all so much for your support, to which once again, if you also just so happen to be new to this channel and of course love Dragon Ball and anime, then I do encourage for you guys to head on over and smash that subscribe button, on top of giving this video a big fat thumbs up by smashing that like button down below. Tune back in for more, because we have so much more coming your way, and with all that being said, I will be seeing each and every single one of you down in the comment section below and in the next video. Take it easy, everybody, and have a great day. Peace.
Hello. Did you know that you can stay up to date with the latest Dragon Ball content by simply subscribing to Unrelent Gaming? Also, don't forget to follow on these social media platforms. You sexy son of a bitch. Roshi. Silent Cell. Me and the fans are having a moment. That's right. I know what you want. Extra long, thick Dragon Ball content. Quality reviews with flawless editing. Yeah. Yeah, you'd like that, wouldn't you? You dirty bitch. Roshi, the fuck? God damn it, I need them to subscribe, Cell. And we're demonetized. Yeah, screw it. Let's cut to the video. You're making a big mistake. Where do you think you're going? Pity, what a waste of talent. Not today. Back off. Have it your way. A tough guy like you should be able to face the truth.
Are you okay?
Remember me when you're far away. I'll always have a place for you to stay. In the garden, by the door, in the bedroom, on the floor. Remember me when you're far away. I'll always have a place for you to stay. In the middle of the night, I'm gonna be there till the morning light.
Shouts out to the big homie DJ Is. Y'all know to go check him out over there for them beats. Buy me a coffee link is already in the damn chat. Shout out to the replay gang. I appreciate y'all for watching the video.
Remember me when you're far away. I'll always have a place for you to stay. In the middle of the night, I'm gonna be there till the morning light. Remember me when you're far away. I'll always have a place for you to stay. In the garden, by the door, in the bedroom, on the floor. Remember me when you're far away. I'll always have a place for you to stay. In the middle of the night, I'm gonna be there till the morning light.
series. Buy Me a Coffee views are actually up. Shout out to Buy Me a Coffee. See what say you get views over there too, right? But
Folks are feeling.
we will see y'all next Saturday for more Super Saturday reviews with Spider Pig, aka TWP, aka Team DWC. Y'all have a nice day.